Welcome here to my live newsletter in English to my English-speaking audience. A lot of times I'm a little bit more diligent with my German audience because I work a lot more with them, but I am wanting to share with you some very exciting news, upcoming information that will benefit you greatly. And it is a work that my husband and I are doing together on radionics, the SE5 and quantum wellness, and he's going to give an introductory talk on it soon, within a couple of days, and I'll send you the link, and I want you to be able to watch that information. These days and ages, we are shifting vastly. When we started together, my husband and I met him when I was 21. That was almost, to be exact, 39 years ago. So anyways, when we met, within a few years, we decided what we are here to teach, and what our passion was, is to teach how our humanness interacts with consciousness and how it shifts time-space, but how it becomes the dance of everything that lives. God in form, and then returning the gaze to source. So to come from source, to be in form, and to return to the source, all while being incarnated, gives us fuel, purpose, directedness, a sense of belonging, and a sense of being in the right place at the right time. Because we are informed from a higher dimension. And we don't need to think as much about what to do, but we can listen and get that guidance. It does require that we activate the opening, and that we are co-creative. So Don is going to give a talk, and I want you to sign up to get that newsletter. And I'll be putting the link here in the newsletter as well as underneath the YouTube link. Today, that's my number one first message I wanted to share with you, because in the film, in the presentation, he's going to share with you how over the last 35 years we've been teaching people worldwide, all the way from North to South America, Europe to Asia to Africa to China to Australia, how people can learn step by step to read information at a distance and to affect changes so that we evolve continuously from the inside out to become greater beings. We are at the verge of, many people are at the verge of understanding that we are truly more than meets the eye. And I'm sure you are part of that movement, and that's why you're watching this. And how do we train our consciousness, and how do we effectively create a betterment in time-space through our higher luminous connection to the source? That's the purpose of what I train, either through the Living from Vision course, the holographic dynamic work based on Dr. Burns' Wolf work, or radionics. And what we've decided is have more of that happen here in Bali, as Shambhala, our retreat center, has been pretty much unoccupied for a year and a half. We've been open here in Bali now since the 14th of October, and not one airplane has landed. That's because, well, I think the airplanes are having a tough time to get enough people to want to come, and the requirements for the quarantine, they're dropping. By now it's only 3 days for quarantine. Requirement is full vaccination or exemption letters. They have to be from real hospitals, but you can come in, and you can get specialty visas. You can come for 6 months and be here at a time. Of course, people can and live here and get retirement visas or investor visas and such. So I'm reading you here. I wish you could see my garden and all that. Here in Bali, in Ubud, which is the artist town. And we have a spa here, and we have our retreat center. And we decided from the beginning we're going to keep ourselves available to pay our staff the whole time and come up with creative ideas. So one of the things you already know we did were the blessings that we send out weekly. And our staff does these incredible videos of blessing the viewer who subscribes for $25 a month. Not a week, a month. And you get 4 of these blessings, 1 a week, to where you are reminded to go within with a prayer. to commune with your highest vision of what's important and true to you. And then to offer that to the higher worlds. And to be reminded with the blessings from Bali. It's like you get an energy ball and you get a Gayatri mantra and they go into deep presence. They're used to doing it here. So we figured we'd bring that to the world. And we're working on doing more of these kinds of courses. So you'll soon be seeing the Shambhala online school. Because, we have all sorts of creative artists here, things we can learn. I learned from my architect. I learned from my gardener. They understand things that we in the West have had to go to mystical schools to understand. So be on the lookout. I'll be writing you. I'll be telling you about it. I also want to alert you to an interview coming up on the Rainbow Channel that I was just interviewed. And I invited some people to come and participate. If you want to, on my Facebook page, I post more regularly. I did a great one-day workshop in Vietnam on the use of the children's book that I have, including audios, but we translated it into Vietnamese, and the audio was translated by Emma Tran into Vietnamese. It was all organized by Yogi Ji, who is part of the Pyramid Spiritual Society movement, and he's teaching in India meditation, and Patri Ji in India, where I'm oftentimes invited to participate as well, or any of their teachers. They are promoting meditation. Same thing, that consciousness comes first. So what does that mean in our daily life? What can we do? And this is one thing that I want you to watch, what Dawn is going to offer. We're offering an incredible package that we're only doing for the Black Friday sale. It's coming up, our American Black Friday sale. And we will give away, basically. We will give away the store, but we will make some offers of where you can make use of radionic work for yourself that we'll be able to send to you, because this can be done long distance. So make sure you listen to Dawn's work, summary of how effective radionics is. Channeling consciousness, focusing informational fields that were discovered by discovered by many ancient seers before, but Maxwell put it into a mathematical formula which states that opposing electromagnetic fields cancel each other out, but double up the force of informational gravitational pressure. And this forces something into creation. It's almost like when you cancel something out, when you are able to take the positive and the negative within yourself and cancel something out to zero, the power catapults you to the next higher realm of existence. And from there, you are the master designer. You will imprint because you still have form. You still are a being. You open your eyes and there is a thought, it's like, but then you can imprint the next higher version. And you train your mind to be appreciative, to be in gratitude. That's what we do through the Living from Vision course, in training positive outlooks towards life and becoming an authentic being, which means to be truly in touch with your inner core of your soul, wherever you sense that presence to be. So one thing is we're going to offer, and I'm like reluctant to tell you the amazing gift where you can protect yourself from Wi-Fi, you can protect yourself from, you can actually improve your health through frequencies and programs. And you get everything. Well, you get something for an amazing gift. I'm reluctant to tell you. Please watch the presentation. Please listen to Dawn. It is an amazing health benefit that we're trying to create in large part so that we can pay our staff. The truth be told, we are supporting our staff. I'm going to turn on the fan over here. It's hot. We've been supporting them for the last 6 months, last year and a half, 36 people since March 2019. and have been keeping everybody on salary. And they're eating and feeding usually 4 to 6 people in their family with that. So we're seeing, we're probably keeping 200 people fed just with our own efforts. But it requires creativity. So we're coming up with where can our staff help and work? What can we do to bring to the world that is a plus, that is something that's needed? So listen to Dawn's presentation, sign up, and you can watch the replay. I know we have more people signed up than fit into the live presentation, but you can watch the replay. And then the next question is, I will send you something that we're creating for Christmas for you, our staff. We're going to create music and dance and a blessing and a mystical experience from Bali here. So that'll be a free gift. So be sure next newsletter that you get from me, that you look at that. It'll be a beautiful, inspirational free gift that we're sending out and creating. And we're singing, we're dancing, we're going to the ocean, we're blessing, and we're inviting you to be part of the mystical Bali experience that we offer here. And then, so these are things that are coming up. One thing coming up that I really would like to call out for is anybody who is interested in helping humans, other humans on this planet, to tap into their higher capacity of waking up and living as a being of a higher order. Now, that could be in small steps or in large steps, but it starts from within, and we need teachers. We need teachers around the world. Like we need yoga teachers, we need teachers to teach access to these inner dimensions. And I am going to do a Living from Vision teacher training where you are taught to teach a 5-week course over 5 weeks, about 4 hours per segment, which addresses how to manifest, how to work with your inner energy to refocus from problem-based thinking to solution-based thinking, and how to take Dr. Vernon Wolf's understanding of the holodynamic universe and resolve negative issues and make huge changes in your psyche and your subconscious, how to train your intuition, how to develop the contact with your authentic self and your higher dimensional levels of your consciousness, how to pre-experience success and create blueprints, literal blueprints that you can slip into and bond into your subconscious and superconscious. How to, and this is, I think, one of the most important aspects, deepen your awareness of what are true values in you, because what you truly value will be your guideposts in your future evolution, in this lifetime and the next. Our ethical system is under attack, I feel. Well, with the Advent, we read books. My husband and I, Dawn and I, read books in 1986 about the New World Order that's coming. It's called now the New Normal. The Karl Schwab's thing of the reset. An attempt at, eventually the books describe every single law that has been passed in the last 35 years. And on top of that, the intention of digitizing, controlling, and becoming sort of, in a positive way, you can say, one global brain, one global entity. The things that are evolving, they came out of dreams of normal people. Google Earth and all the control that it brought with it, and all the services, were dreamt up in Germany by scientists, by geeks, by artistic geeks. Watch the movie The $1 Billion Code, or The Billion or $1 Billion Code. It's a docudrama on Netflix. It is jaw-dropping, about 4-part series. It's spellbinding. You'll write it down, The $1 Billion Code. Maybe I'll manage to get the link underneath here in the newsletter, of how Google Earth was developed and what the big companies do, small innovators. Anyways, apart from that, It is one humanity that is building a big ant pile. And we're all ants, part of that big pile. And some people had those visions that are also going to be the nemesis, what we perceive maybe the nemesis, the control factor, the global brain. Peter Russell wrote a book, The Global Brain, in '84, I believe, and had conceived of when an entity becomes a cell out of 10 billion cells, an entity out of 10 billion cells, which humanity will soon be at. We have soon to have 8 billion people on our planet, or if we're just at that border. When I was born, we were 2.4. Yes, we have quadrupled in my lifetime. And anybody who wants to tell me that we can quadruple and feed everybody and have quadrupled that many people go to the bathroom and throw away one plastic bag, or even dare to have a refrigerator, and thinks we have enough to feed everybody, it takes, for 2 people eating a vegetarian diet, 2 football fields, no, 1 football field for 2 people, 2 football fields I think it was, of land. Okay, so if I want to even think of surviving, and spend all my time planting. All right, so apart from the fact that everybody wants to get dressed or even have a bicycle, so let's take these things seriously. I know we would like to all point our fingers at the bad guys and say they want to reduce humanity, they want to eliminate humanity or whatnot. Let's consider that we are one global mind, consciously dreaming up solutions. And you are part of that. You and your deeper beliefs, me, all of us, are part of what comes out. We must be sure that we put something in or call for help from the other dimensions to start seeding the greater dream. And one of the busiest people that have been out, we have as friends, for example, they're programming for virtual reality because it's so fun to be in virtual snow. All right, you saw my face. Maybe I like the real snow better. But nevertheless, humans are very much have become more mental instead of corporal, instead of sensual, instead of spiritual. And so we need to reel back. And I want you, or anybody you know, to become a teacher and teach people to reel back into the source of the part in us that is one with the creator force. And to realize the power that we are, not the victim, that we are the co-creator of the dream of being human, of being that part of God realizing itself. Come and do the teacher training with me. I'm going to be starting, I have 2 people lined that are ready to go, so we might start before Christmas. So please write me. We do individual trainings. We do maximally 3 to 4 people in a group. So because we need a lot of practice time. It takes 3 months, and we have everything spelled out, written out. You'll come across as a pro. I can highly recommend doing this as a personal growth evolutionary step. And if you want to take the aspects into your coaching clientele sessions, you can do that. Or you can teach the entire course. Living from Vision, we have materials in print, in full color, PowerPoints, we have online courses. We have the shebang. We are incredibly well prepared for teaching people, and we've been doing this for the last 25 years. So we have a turnkey ready business for people to engage in and share your gifts as a teacher of inspiration. The requirement is that you have already had some kind of group experience, whether it's a yoga teaching or whether you've taught groups of people in meditation or had reading groups, whatever. But you do need to have the ability to be in front of groups. We have, of course, if you want to do this just as a personal growth experience and practice it, because part of the certification program is that you go through the 5 weeks of practice with videotaping and with feedback, and you get your certificate and all that. But you can do that as your personal growth journey. But we would like people to actually be able to really take it out into the world more and more. I used to teach people in live classes, between 15 and 20 people in a class to become teachers, in Germany mostly. But we're doing it online now because we are here in Germany and you're there in America or wherever else on the world. So join me for becoming a teacher of inspiration to guide people back to their own source, to their authentic core supply line of who they really are. And that is pure consciousness and the form that you've made out of yourself, all your values, your core ethics that evolved through evolution, through time and space, and through reincarnation. That part you will take with you. The 5th week we focus on connecting with the higher force and bringing in the dimensions and understanding the cycles of manifestation and completion and on and on. So we have 5 weeks chock full with specific themes, specific material, and an app where your students practice to apply what you teach every single day, morning and evening. It is incredibly worked out. It's based on all the work that Rod Newton did, and then I augmented with him. And we've worked since 1989 with this material, and we've been teaching it worldwide. I have teachers worldwide. Even in China, we have the material in Chinese, in Czechoslovakian, German, French, Spanish, English. So if you are in those countries, please let me know. We have incredible teachers in France and in Canada, French-speaking Canada. If you want to have teachings in French or in Canada in French-speaking, please let me know. We have teachers there who will happily do that, as well as in China. So, onward and upward. What do we do in this time and day? Well, first of all, we have to realize we didn't arrive here without any forewarning. What is here now has been well planned out. And my feeling is that politics come and go. The backdrop of history has always had its stories, had kings and queens, the ones who lead, the politicians, and you choose whether you want to be the king, the queen, the politician, the pauper, the preacher, the street cleaner, whatever. But you're going to be within that movie set, but who you are and what you do with it, that's your evolutionary journey. What has been set out and where we're going is to eventually come in contact with extraterrestrials. Or Joe McMoneagle did a prediction coming up for the end of the century. We will be mining asteroids, which we're already they're already seeing that. They have so many resources on asteroids. Anyhow, but we will be in collaboration officially with extraterrestrials. And my feeling is a lot of the ones that I've encountered are multidimensional, or actually like glowing beings, or they can shapeshift into us, and we can do the same thing because we're not tied to just the body. If you learn to move your consciousness and have enough gravitational spin within yourself, and that's something you can train. I do trainings on soul awareness, becoming the gravitational center of consciousness, and take that into the greater whole of oneness of God. If we merge God within the individual and let the God that is all and the God that is part be a dynamo, then you are the living God force in your limited self, granted, but fueled and centered within that sense of infinity. And within that, you will have that confidence of being situated in a greater power. I tell you, a lot of the people that have great see-throughs right now are all God-centered beings. I'm amazed. And last but not least, you can do this training for yourself and or to teach others. So please write me or check my links out. I have the links for the school as well as the link for your own personal growth also underneath of here. And so let me collect my thoughts here. We have Dawn's work on psycho-interactive technology. We have Living from Vision, the teacher training. We invite you to participate in the Inspiration from Bali. Soon to come more on an online school with free events The first one will be a Christmas gift to all, and I invite you to our online school, and I will send you the link probably in the next newsletter with that announcement. And yeah, where to go and what to do. I mean, seriously, I read those books and I said, I'm going to put my foot out of the country into a tropical world because I do think we're going to have weather changes. I saw the ice age coming. I know everybody thinks we're going to have global warming, but my personal feeling is that the Earth's core is being pulled wobbled off in a different direction. My impression is we have celestial orbiting invisible, and that's maybe a black dwarf, a pillar to the sun, a twin to the sun, that's either a black dwarf, and that routinely and regularly pulls the cosmic part of the Earth in one wobble. It's my interpretation. I've seen those parts, and I think the magnetic shift will happen because of that, and has happened. We will see a colder northeast, east coast, snow down into the southern regions and into Europe. And I'm in Bali. So here in Bali, yes, Indonesia is definitely listening to the World Health Organization and to everybody who's on top of that. And there will always be those forces, and it's humanity trying to dream up ways of how to circumambulate a greater unity of consciousness. Right? We're going to have 10 billion people on the planet, so what and how are we going to keep the ethical disparity between, terroristic mindsets or selfish mindsets? Not to say that corporate America isn't selfish, or sublimely humanistic mindsets all work together. And I believe that our incarnation is in large part here so we develop as souls, diamonds, into more brilliant diamonds. And what we need to do is to develop greater ethics. And the big part about ethical development is going to be substituted sooner or later by surveillance. And in the books we read 35 years ago, it was outlined what was going to come. The chipping of humans was pre-envisioned. Now, I'm not sure how we're going to do it, and I am praying for sovereignty and all the good things, and the right answers will come to us at the right time. I expect fully that we'll all be informed inwardly, each of us, what to do when, and you may have already made whatever steps you do. Whatever you do, it's your next step, and I honor everybody's choice. Let's make sure one thing, that we realize it's we're talking to God each time we look in each other's eyes. Whether we think it's misguided or one way or the other, the opposite end will surely believe that they are the only ones who know the right way to go. So when we do that, let's honor each other in the families, in relationships, and say, hey, I might be wrong. Let me just do my choice, you do your choice, and we already know that, it'll be more and more obvious what the game plan is, but let's just assume that some kind of surveillance is potentially more coming. What is the deeper, higher intent? Ultimately, it is to remind everybody what is the right thing to do. There is this funny video that says, people, social crediting system, people bandwidths, have a band, and they get charged if they have a bad thought, or they get charged if they eat chocolate, or if they get charged, whatever, if they drink alcohol or smoke. The thought behind it is live healthily, whatever. Let's just say the positive intent could be to be a guideline for a higher all-seeing eye, to be guiding and informing the individual parts of itself, because it's all God playing God, to inform itself to do the right thing. Now we can circumvent that by automatically listening to the inner source and going, what is the right thing? Like when I was young, it said, don't drink Coca-Cola, don't get drunk, don't do drugs, don't smoke. It's like I heard it in my own inner subconscious. And my mother always said, what is it that you hear in your own inner voice? What are your truths? What are your answers? That's what I think is the higher path to ethical living and authentic, aligned living to whatever it is that you feel is right and true. Now, that takes training, and that takes a lot of day-to-day training. And in the Living from Vision course, I have practiced refocusing on the things that work, the gratitude exercises, a lot of things that in the Vedic scriptures are taught as spiritual truths. Be grateful every day. See the beauty around you. Minor exercises that we do every day in the evening, at the end of the day, right, is part of the app that ends the day with a guided meditation. So these are things that ultimately are being taught. This whole wobbly human evolutionary thing has been dreaming up technology for hundreds of years. Pinocchio, the clock, the development of the clock, the mechanization of things, the machines that did the work for humans, without which all of us would be toiling farmers or nomads. Believe me, I always thought being a nomad was the ultimate highest expression of being human, because it'll make us totally interdependent and not having more than or the other, because you can't carry much. As a nomad, you have what you can carry. But am I happy that I'm doing what I'm doing right now? Yes. I don't think as a nomad I could be helping teach so many people as I am now in so many nations. And that's what I've decided is worth having given that up and going with the times. Now, what is happening with going with the times is the robotization and AI. So we need to, my personal feeling is that we need to create access to the Akashic record and not so much rely on the external. That we know things without knowing. You have to train your intuition and know things in advance. So then when I read those books, Don and I said, if this and this step happens, we will move our feet abroad, because then the next steps will also happen. So we are here in Bali. You can come and live here if you want. It is a bigger step, but it's also easily done once you decide. The fundamental things that we learned back in 1986 is be out of debt. So if you can, pay off all your credit cards, be out of debt. Don't fall into the rat mill. That will keep people dependent. I believe the intention is to create more and more universal income to keep everybody at pretty much at a medium low, subsidy lifestyle. I'm not sure what's going to be happening on the upper echelon, but you always have that. The pyramid is always there. No matter how hard we try, there are those who have more lifetimes on their belt than others. And we always have the teaching effect. One, we reach down and teach. The other one, we reach up and learn. So you can become a teacher and teach access while you teach. You don't even have to know all the answers. You follow the script and you learn and become the greater teacher over decades, like I have done. I remember when Rod Newton, while at the teacher training for Dr. Vern Wolf, I was, doing the master's program with him in holodynamics, and they were working on collaborating and working on integrating what now is called the Living from Vision course, for which I have been chosen to be the international hub and teach internationally, and since then it's been produced with apps and gorgeous materials in all these cultures and countries. But we learned at that point, and I was 27, and we learned how to do these things. I had my first class with 10 students, and I remember my first goal was to get a laptop. That was in 1990. And I got my laptop. I got all my big dreams, right? And swimming with dolphins was one of them, and paying off my taxes for that year in a 5-week period to get all the money. So, but those were my beginnings, and I didn't have to be the super guru master. I knew what I knew at age 27 from previous lifetimes, but I could build on it. And now, I have mastered a lot of steps that you can read up on in my books, Dream Big, the Universe is Listening, Dolphins, Love and Destiny, or The Wisdom of the Dolphins. And I'm currently writing on a new one. I've co-authored with Jack Canfield and with Brian Tracy, amazing people teaching the power of consciousness. So I've also been chosen with two of my amazing stories from life, real life stories of how shifting your mind shifts dramatically the time-space around you for your personal life. It ripples as far as you perceive your personal space to be, your personal needs. Come and join me on that. You don't have to be the professor before you start teaching. You become the professor over time. So join me on that. Join me on the Black Friday sale talk that Dawn is giving, and join me in the online inspirational school that I will be sending you in my next newsletter from Bali, where we are sharing our cultural gifts with you. And think about where you want to be. The weathers will be changing. I will leave it up to each individual to find your own way through the maze of health. I obviously decided on my own path, and I'm surrounded by all the people who have pretty much the same insights. But that's where I placed myself. I'm in the middle of a bubble, of a reflection of that space, of people and friends around me here. Here in Bali, it's a tropical country, and we have a lot of vitamin D here, naturally, and hot streets. Let me end with an interesting note. I just was getting my vitamin C injection and ozone, which they can do here in Bali. Awesome, awesome, awesome. It got me out of COVID when I got it in March 2019, February 2019 into March. And at that point, I hadn't heard about ivermectin. But one doctor that I was meeting here in Bali, he said, nobody heard about it, but there was a hospital up in Jakarta, I believe it was, with thousands of people, where they decided to give all of the people one dose, and roughly 12 milligram. It's 0.2 milligram per kilogram of weight. It's for a body my size, it's 12 milligrams. Anyways, one dose. And the people all got healthy. I have read about these studies through alternative news, but I didn't read it in the mainstream. So they've been doing it in a bunch of hospitals here. And the cases are like, just so you know that, because, well, you don't want to give it in the amounts that a horse eats it, right? You don't do 100 milligram, because a horse might have a lot more kilograms per body weight, right? So I'm just going to give you that tidbit of information that I got from a doctor here. And I tried it out for deworming. I got results. And I heard it from other friends who've used it here when they came down with something. And that was amazing results. So I'm just giving you that as an anecdotal story from what I've heard here and seen here from friends and doctors alike around here. When Don got it, we had hydrochloroquine as well as on the hand. And Don lost his sense of smell and had the fever and blah, 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 and took the dosages, and it was a week and it was gone. Anyways, I didn't have all that. I had nothing. I had seen pictures in China, smelling hot vapors, and I put eucalyptus in. That was miraculous. Hot vapors into the nose and into the breath, into the lungs. Miraculous. With vitamin C injections at the end, turned me around. So, anyways, those are anecdotal stories from my own personal life to you as a gift, as a tidbit. And I'm thanking you for having been here. Please stay positive. Envision a world in which you shine in your own heaven on earth. And we live as God incarnated. We just have to realize that God is looking out through its own eyes. And by nature, this portion is limited and has duality. So we're going to find opposites, but that defines everything. And it gives the dance a chance to reconvene and find itself. I'll encourage you to listen to my interview on the Rainbow Channel. I'll be posting that as well. That was done in India by Pramila. And I'm very grateful to all the amazing students and meditators and masters at the Pyramid Spiritual Society movement, and Patriji, who's just now coming up with the new book, all his pearls of wisdom, to which I was invited to give a blurb, and I'm just in the process of reading it. And Patriji was the man that I didn't know was in the pyramid when I meditated in Bangalore, in Kurnool with Don. And we were sitting there, and suddenly I got this jolt. I was meditating and opened my eyes, and this being was glowing in yellow gold colors, and so much so that I had been jolted backwards, and I went, this guy's enlightened. It's the only time in my life I had that experience. So I know he's a real deal, very humble, very real, and puts out his entire life to teach people to meditate. So if you can do one thing, is go inward. From my homepage, ilonaselke.com, you can click on search. The first entry there is for an app which accompanies you in the morning and evening, free of charge. You just sign up. It's probably what you have already done, because otherwise how would you be on my mailing list? Or you've read my book and got in that way. Whichever way you did. What you don't have yet, you can look. I have a number of free offers on my homepage, ilonaselke.com, and all the way at the bottom you'll see the teacher training program information as well. Write me if you have questions. I am so grateful that we can work together, that I know you somehow, and you've connected with me through my books, and I've connected with you through spirit, and we've been guided to help each other in the world. Thank you, namaste, and blessings from Bali, and welcome to the adventure of discovering more together.